all this movement that the left uses, like on Instagram and Facebook, and go out and vote. No, don't vote, you idiot. Don't vote. You are stupid. You are.
This is Elijah Schaffer. Now, he got famous for this clip a little while back. I don't know if you guys remember seeing this or not. This is from November 15th, 2022. It's right before or right after the 2022 elections. And oh boy, was he upset that Republicans lost the election in 2022 by and large. So I wanted to give you an idea of who this guy is because he's had more to say recently. Just keep listening to what he had to say immediately after the 2022 election.
A degenerate piece of scum. Your existence is menial. In fact, God loves you. Most of us don't. Your own family doesn't support you very much because you're intolerable. Your views are not well thought out. It's not your SSRIs and your depression, your mental illness that is making you miserable. It's the fact that you don't live for anything. You stand for nothing. So everything gives you value. And you watch TikTok as a hobby. So your life doesn't exist in any real substance. So no, you shouldn't vote.
Wow. Okay, well, that's democracy for you, right? People who you don't like shouldn't vote. Totally. That's a perfect representation of my understanding of democracy. Absolutely. Well, he was fired by The Blaze after that. Or maybe shortly before that. I don't remember. By the way, The Blaze is like Glenn Beck's TV network, if you will. Glenn Beck was like the Tucker Carlson of Fox News for a while. Top-rated host for like who knows how long. Same as Bill O'Reilly, Megyn Kelly. They were all the top hosts on Fox at one time or another. Well, Glenn Beck was at the very top, and when he got fired or left or whatever it was that happened to him, he ended up starting The Blaze, which is a network of a group of various different people, up to and including Elijah Schaffer. So I want to give you an idea of some of the things Elijah Schaffer has had to say recently. He has this person on, whatever her name is, to talk to her about this. Check this out.
Anytime you talk about, white people being targeted, that's where they stop you. They don't want you to talk about that. You're allowed to talk about wokeness. You're allowed to talk about trans stuff now. You weren't for a while.
When were you not allowed to talk? I mean, when I say you, when were Republicans not allowed to talk about trans issues? Give me a date. Tell me when it was okay.
Allowed to go in certain directions. But if you really explain what this is actually a hatred, anti-white racism. This is anti-Christian. This is anti-Christianity. This is anti-traditionalism. And at the core of this, yes, there are plenty of non-white traditionalists. There are plenty of non-white, Christians. It's not that. But realistically speaking, it's the core of Western white civilization that they're trying to attack, deconstruct. And with that comes Christianity, comes the nuclear family. It's all about with it so that they can institute their own weird globalist version of collectivism that is not shared by Caucasians. And they don't want you to talk about that. Any talk of that, they'll be like, are you a graper? This sounds very Nick Fuentes-ish.
Are they in the room with us right now, Elijah? Who are you talking about when you say they? He says, anytime you talk about, what was it? The New World Order? Anytime you talk about how persecuted those poor white people are, oh, so hurt and persecuted and hated. Oh, those poor white people. Anytime you talk about that, they start accusing you of liking the same things that Nick Fuentes likes. Okay. If you don't know Nick Fuentes, just buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride from here on out.
Any talk of that, they'll be like, are you a graper? This sounds...
A graper is Nick Fuentes' fan base, basically.
Of that, they'll be like, are you a graper? This sounds very Nick Fuentes-ish. Yeah. This sounds very graper. Do you know what's funny? You can criticize Fuentes and the Grapers for some things, sure, but they're not lying about the attacks on white people. They're being really honest. Just because you don't like Fuentes doesn't mean he's lying that there's an attack on white people.
There's no attack on white people, Elijah. Seriously, get it together. Come back to reality with the rest of us. White people are not being persecuted in society, okay? What an insane thing to even say, right?
That there's an attack on this stuff, and if you opened your eyes for like 5 seconds and got your personal squabbles and could just get over the Jew jokes and get over like the humor and stop being so sensitive and
Oh yeah, see, Nick Fuentes, he's always just making jokes about Jews, just saying they should be murdered. Wow, what? It's just a joke. Come on. Just get past all the jokes about Jews being killed and accept the core message, which is that white people are terribly persecuted, okay? That's all you gotta do. It's simple as that. And people won't accept that white people are persecuted. And oh yeah, Jews kind of suck too, right? Jews should probably die, right? According to Nick Fuentes. If you just look past all the anti-Jewish jokes he makes, oh, and they're jokes, notice. He's framing them up as their jokes, okay? If you just ignore the Jew jokes Nick Fuentes tells and focus in on the message, white people are persecuted, you're good. Totally.
stop thinking about money for like 10 minutes, maybe you would realize that some people, just because you disagree with them on certain things, doesn't mean they're wrong about everything. And perhaps we're going to start suffering real consequences until we wake up in the West and realize that there is a real attack on white people and no one cares if we die.
No. Okay, there's no attack on white people, first of all. And second, when somebody starts telling me that Jews committed 9/11 and that they're out to get you and you gotta, hide from them and all this other stuff, I'm going to start worrying about their judgment in other areas of life, all right? Forget the jokes. Look, I can tell some dark jokes with the rest of them, believe me. I'm down with some dark jokes. I used to tell dead baby jokes. Okay, that's how dark the jokes are that I am willing to accept. But when you start telling me that Jews were responsible for 9/11 and that they are the heart of all of the problems in society and all this other garbage, I'm going to start wondering about your judgment in other areas of life. I'm just saying. But he's playing it off like, oh, just get past his stupid jokes. Just get past the jokes. White people are persecuted, okay? Just get past the dumb jokes. What he's saying right now, Elijah Schaffer, sounds a lot like what the KKK said in 1982. This is a KKK Grand Wizard, okay? November 4th, 1982. Listen to how similar they sound.
We feel that affirmative action is discriminating against white people, and there is no question about it. Two wrongs don't make a right. Because black people were hurt and discriminated against in the past does not justify the discrimination against white people now.
Sound familiar? White people being discriminated against now? Give me a break. White people are not being discriminated against. But all the way back in 1982, the KKK was taking this method of attack, this perspective, this pretext to attack other people, to remove other people's rights. They were using this method. White people are being persecuted, and we have to put a stop to that. Absurd. Just for good measure, listen to, I think this guy's name's Pat Buchanan, this one right here. Listen to what he said to this Grand Wizard of the KKK.
I introduced you. I didn't say that your organization was. I said historically to most Americans, you're anti-Catholic and anti-Semitic and racist. In other words, anti-black. You said, we're not anti-Catholic.
Right.
We're not anti-Semitic. You didn't deny the racist thing.
Well, it depends on your definition of racist.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I will never get tired of hearing that. Well, it depends on your definition of racist. Okay. Oh, God, you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. Anyway, let's get back to Elijah Schaffer. Let's talk about who this guy is and some of the other things he believes. Obviously, he's repeating KKK talking points now, right? I mean, I feel I've well established that point. And obviously, he believes that white people are being persecuted in society right now. This is when he was still on the Blaze. You can see the little bee icon in the bottom right corner there. This is when he was still being endorsed by our old buddy Glenn Beck, the Mormon. Check this out. Early May 2022.
And holding the wrong political opinion, which means not just the wrong one in terms of something that works against our nation, but something that works against people who don't even live in our nation, that are not from our nation, that don't give a about our countrymen and the people in it. Why are we being punished for working in correspondence and in collusion to make our country better? And that's what they mean by the wrong opinion. People who care about men and women being men and women, children not being groomed, this nation having a affordable and stable currency, a president that was actually elected, and a country that looks out for people and doesn't demonize white people, but realizes, thank you for making this nation.
Nobody cares about any of that stuff. Nobody has ever had a problem with any of that stuff. But here he sits, reframing it, pretending to be a victim, and acting like white people are the most persecuted people alive. Give me a break. It's embarrassing that he can't just accept reality like the rest of us. This isn't even the worst that I've heard from this guy. Not even close.
And you're welcome, everyone else that has been here. You haven't done much for it in terms of what we would have liked. You've only complained, and you've caused more problems.
Yeah, you've only complained. You're welcome. Everybody else who refuses to agree with me, you've only caused more problems. And you're welcome for the good that I've done for society. Please, no more good. Just stop. We don't want it anymore. Please step away and go live your life somewhere else. Jesus Christ, dude, this guy. There is like a serious undercurrent in the United States right now of right-wing extremists being obsessed with the idea that white people are being persecuted in society. Seriously. This is Lauren Witzke. If you're unfamiliar with her, she ran for Congress in 2022 and I think maybe 2020 also. Lost both times, but got pretty close. Closer than I'm comfortable with, anyways. Listen to her position on this stuff.
We are the most persecuted people in America.
We being white people, of course. White people are the most persecuted people in America.
I've never in my
Amen.
life felt so persecuted as a white person. I've never been so scared to have white children in the future because I'm like, this is only going to get worse. And not a single politician will say the word, this is anti-white. And it is.
That's because it's not anti-white. What the hell are you talking about right now?
Not a single politician will say the word, this is anti-white. And I see the direction it's going, and it's not going to get any better. And until we openly embrace and stand up for the fact that we as white people have a say, we helped build this country. We were there in the beginning. We discovered this country. We built it from the ground up.
Right, she thinks that white people discovered the United States? We really don't live in the same reality, do we? Like at all. Does she think that when the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, there was literally nobody else here? It was completely barren, a barren wasteland, not another person in sight for miles? She lives in another reality. She must.
Built this country. We were there in the beginning. We discovered this country. We built it from the ground up. We should have a say, and we should be represented, and we should not be persecuted.
These people live in an alternate reality, straight up. They seem to believe that white people are the most persecuted people alive. If you think that's bad, let me show you a little bit more from Elijah Schaffer. For what it's worth, there's, okay. This is speculation. Everything beyond this point is speculation, so take it with a grain of salt. Herschel Walker ran for U.S. Senate in 2022. He lost. But his son, Christian Walker, as it turns out, is really famous on TikTok, really well known. He's a right-wing nutcase, and he does all of these right-wing events and stuff. And he's gay. He's openly gay and attends right-wing events. Well, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Don't know if this is true or not. But Christian Walker said that Elijah Schaffer, this guy on screen here, might have done some questionable acts, at least questionable in the eyes of Republicans, with some of Christian's close friends at the last CPAC event. Little to no evidence to back this up except for Christian's word, so who knows for sure. Just putting it out there for the sake of completion. There is a strong undercurrent of white racism and pro-white racism anti every other race than white. A strong undercurrent right now. And Elijah Schaffer, Lauren Witzke, and others are leading the charge on this front. Just listen to this one. This one is from early May 2022. This is when he's still in the blaze, of course.
Yeah, Native Americans, get the out of America. You're on stolen land that you stole. And you want to know why I'm mad?
By the way, I'm Native American partly. It's on my birth certificate, 1/2 Native American. I don't think the percentage is that high. My family is registered as a member of the tribe, but anyways, yeah. I'm white passing. For all intents and purposes, I'm white.
Stole. And you want to know why Manifest Destiny happened? Do you know why we took it back? Because we couldn't live with you on the land because you guys kept declaring war on us and kept declaring war and trying to take back land that we already traded and or bought from you. And you did not understand property rights because you were savages. And that's why you got the name that you did. Unfortunately for you, that's what happened. So you know what? It's just true.
So you know what? It's just true, he says. You know what? I'm just telling the hard truths here. How about this one, dude? I just want to go down a little Elijah Schaffer rabbit hole right now. Just listen to who this guy is, what he believes, the things he says and does. Check this out. This one is from early May 2022 also.
This is the most racist thing I'll say all podcast.
Oh boy, it's going to get bad, isn't it? The most racist thing he's going to say all podcast. Okay.
People think that Australia is great because it's an all-white country, and it's just that's the only reason why it's good. And you can say that that's white supremacist. No, it's a homogenous group of people with less population than there is in California and a landmass bigger than the United States. They get along, they don't commit crime, they're clean, and they have a common group.
Right. So all of Australia, the entire country, is flawless. No problems whatsoever, right? They don't have any kind of crimes whatsoever. No knife crimes, no gun crimes, although that one's because they banned guns, but that's neither here nor there. No prisons even, right? Australia has no prisons whatsoever because there's no crime in Australia. Is that correct, Elijah?
They're clean and they have a common group.
Yeah, they're so clean, we don't even need janitors in Australia.
A common group. Multiculturalism is gay. It sucks. It's stupid. It doesn't work. It never has worked. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. But they have a country. It's homogenous. So everyone thinks because it's a monoculture that it's like this really balanced society that's like it's just not violent. It's not trash and everyone's wealthy. It's actually true. But their politics are.
Australia? Everybody is wealthy in Australia? Is that what he just said?
Trash and everyone's wealthy. It's actually true.
There's no trash and everyone is wealthy in Australia.
It's just not violent. It's not trash and everyone's wealthy.
Are we talking about the same country right now? Is he just seeing what he wants to see? There is a serious white supremacist problem happening in the not just in the U.S. Well, he's from the United States, but in the world right now, particularly the U.S. How did we get here? How did this dude arrive at the conclusions that he's arrived at? This is nuts. This guy is something else, man. Let me know what you think about him in the comments. He's got problems for real. The Blaze fired him, luckily. He's still making an impact, man. Still making an impact. Let me know what you think.